Hello, Bible readers. A friend of mine recommended a book to me a couple years back, and he knew I'd like it because it was about history. Usually I read history books, but they're typically biographies about people or stories about something that happened long ago. This book was about history itself, and our idea, which is actually a relatively new and pretty niche idea, that history is a description of human achievement or quality of life, all things measurable and describable, as though it goes up and up and up and up and up. Like, as though history is in a straight line progressing. But what this book, The Fourth Turning, if you want to know the book's title, what this book claims is that history is not a straight line of progress. It is instead cyclical, experienced in pretty predictable phases, actually, like seasons, like seasons in a calendar year. Like, can we know exactly when winter is going to come? I mean, December 21st has been measured to be the first day of winter as it's measured by the orbit of the Earth around the sun, but that doesn't mean the 21st of December is the first day that it snows or that it's cold. Sometimes winter comes in late October. Other times it waits till December, but it does come. And it always goes away, only to return again the next year. We know winter comes and goes. The authors of that book argue that's how history works too. That every 4 generations, hence the name of the book, The Fourth Turning, every 4 generations are similar to the 4 generations that came before them and the 4 that came before them. Together, they perpetuate a cycle of generational seasons, you could say. And I bring this up because as much as most of us have been told that history is a straight line of progress, where everybody's getting better and smarter and wiser, and by 50 years from now, we should have it all figured out. And then 50 years go by and we have new problems and old ways of mistaking our way through those new problems. But we've also been told relationships should progress in a straight line too. Like, how many couples have I talked to who are maybe 1 year married or 3 or 5 years married, and they're freaking out because the progress of their relationship, which, started at just talking and then dating, and then they get engaged, and then usually they move in with each other, and then they get married, and then it feels like they've stalled or something. They wonder if, are we supposed to call it quits at this point because we aren't somehow more in love than the day we were married, at least how love gets measured by some. What if history is not a straight line of progress, but has seasons of growth and new ideas, as well as seasons of shrinking and bad and old ideas? What if relationships are similar? What if relationships are not meant to be on a course that just, goes from honeymoon to the moon, but instead, what if relationships are meant to come back down to earth sometimes, only to launch again in other phases, other seasons? What if a relationship with God works more like that? A relationship with God, I guess, according to Israel, according to our psalm for today, works more like seasons than a straight line too. I think all relationships do, because life itself is not lived in a straight line. It's not lived statically or monotonously or according to a schedule, or can be the same, right? Psalm 40 expresses this truth of the seasonality of life in 2 ways. With its words, of course, but also just by the way it is laid out, the way it is written. Because we've seen how a lament psalm is supposed to work, right? It's supposed to progress from lament to thanksgiving. And that makes sense. Oh Lord my God, woe is me. Hear my cry. It's really bad, like really bad. You're my only hope. I trust in your steadfast love. And then oftentimes, as we have seen in these psalms, there's a change. You heard me. You're the best. I'll tell everyone about you. Praise to you, O God. And that order makes sense. Lament to thanksgiving. But Psalm 40 makes sense of life that is not so neatly ordered. Life isn't always, I was sad, now I'm happy, and I'm going to be happy from now on, right? It can be, I was happy, and now I'm not. I need to lament after having been happy. Brueggemann, in his message of the Psalms, says, Psalm 40 reminds us that the move from disorientation to new orientation is not a single straight line, irreversible or unambiguous. Life moves in and out. And don't we know it? No matter what chapter of life we're in, what season we're experiencing, our trust is always put in God. That's the main point of Psalm 40. That as much as life is in and out, whatever order life comes at you in, we get to pray in the faith of God. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.